Just past the halfway point, we want to take a look at our Messina Wildlife Management race recap. At the start of this one, Justin Marks was on the outside of Kevin Swindell, who had been dominant early on in this race.
Joey Coulter's going to make some contact with the outside wall very early, bouncing off the wall off turn 2.
Fireworks outside the racetrack as well. Then it was a problem for the 58 of Chad Hockenbraugh. He gets turned around, doesn't make any contact, but we'll find out that that may have done damage under the hood. We had some great racing on the racetrack. Patrick Sheltra and Steve Arpin battling it out for position. Remember, Patrick running for a championship.
You don't want to knock those fenders down on the tires. Here's our second caution flag. Chad Hockenbraugh again looks like he loses the engine going down into turn number 1. Tries to keep the car off the racetrack. A couple cars are going to bounce off the wall trying to avoid him right there, right in front of our leaders.
The third caution coming out on lap 77. It was Tony Palumbo who got sideways through 3 and 4. Doesn't make any contact. Down to the apron he goes safely without any damage. Patrick Sheltra, though, has been the story. Coming in as your points leader, battling with Justin Marks for the lead with Frank Kimmel just behind. Sheltra able to make the pass, take the lead, and he hasn't looked back since.
There's been 4 lead changes among 6 drivers. 6 lead changes among 4 drivers, excuse me. Patrick Sheltra now opens up about a 2-second lead over Frank Kimmel, who's running second.
Championship update. Is it too close to call? Well, Patrick Sheltra said before this race, all I have to do is win the race, right? He said, well, yeah, and that's exactly what he's trying to do right now.
But he said he was going to run conservatively. Remember that, right? Well, conservatively, I guess, is only leading by 2 seconds.
Craig Gose and Tom Hessert still chasing.
Just barely past halfway, though. A lot of things can go on here. Everyone has another set of tires to put on. There'll be another round of adjustments that all these crew chiefs can make. Ray talked about the experience on top of the pit boxes. All 3 of these crew chiefs have a lot of experience. If they can make the right adjustments, that may win the championship.
And remember, Steve Arpin in the 55 didn't change tires the same time the rest of the field did, but then under our most recent caution came onto pit road, got 4 fresh tires. That has moved him into the top 6. He's currently running 6, 5.7 seconds behind race leader Patrick Sheltra.
Yeah, it seems like he's been in heavy traffic just after the drop of the green flag, but he's done some nice moves and made his way up into the 6th spot. He's coming. Remember, he has about 20 laps fresher tires than his competitors do.
44 of Frank Kimmel running in the 2nd spot now. Easy to spot in that bright yellow paint job. Ansel and Menard's on board with that team. And we go down to Jim Trano.
And not so great news for Justin Marks. Had the race lead when Patrick Sheltra passed him. Now he's back in 19th as the 32 Constructor Toyota for Justin Marks and the Wintron boys. They think they might have a motor issue. Driver said it's not sounding right. I think I'm running on 7 cylinders, so it's not a handling issue. It's motor, and going away quickly here for Justin Marks, who had the lead about 40 laps ago.
Yeah, we saw him pull to the inside there. Certainly off the pace right now for Justin Marks. What a horrible break. What a great run he had going. Have the lead of this race. There's Steve Park right behind him in the 53 car.
Justin Marks has had a great season. Got his first win in the ARCA Racing Series, the 2nd race out, again at Palm Beach. Has had some top 5 runs, most recently at Salem, where he finished in the 5th spot. But now it looks like a difficult day for that team. As we see Steve Clark making the pass on Justin Marks now.
Yeah, that's probably a situation that won't get any better unless we get a caution flag and they go under the hood. You always hope that maybe it's a plug wire that came off, but most of the time it's not. But a good run nonetheless going early on for at least the first half of this race for Justin Marks.
Guys listening are saying that they think he's down a cylinder at least, and that's why he continues to drop back. But opposite end of the spectrum is the 60 of Patrick Sheltra. He has a 2.3-second lead over Frank Kimmel, clicking off almost 28-second laps, 27.8 the last time by.
Steve Arpin now again running up in the 6th position. There he goes around the outside of Ty Dillon. Remember, there's 20 laps fresher tires. That moves him up into the top 5 right now. He's about 5 seconds behind our leader, Patrick Sheltra.
Steve Arpin not the fastest car on the racetrack. His teammate was actually a little bit faster.
Good question is, if we get a caution flag in the next 10 or 15 laps, what is everyone going to do? Are the field that got the tires at lap 50, are they going to put tires on then and know they're going to have them for 70 or 80 laps? And is Steve Arpin going to try to stretch this one too and try to get 20 or 30 laps advantage in tires?
That's the rock. It leaves you asking these questions. What will you do if?
That's when a crew chief wants an unlimited amount of tires, and every time the caution flag waves, you just put tires on it. That's very simple, but it's not like that here.
Chad McCumbee moving to the inside of that 47 of Timmy Hill.
Chad's running in the 4th position right now. Steve Arpin is coming. That's the next car to him right now. Chad McCumbee, good run, going 4 races in a row in the top 10 last 4 times. There's Steve Arpin.
Arpin up to 5th now, trying to reel in that one of Chad McCumbee. So Sheltra has a 2.6 second lead over Frank Kimmel. Kevin Swindell running in the 3rd spot. Chad McCumbee is 4th. Steve Arpin into the top 5 now with a little fresher tires. Young Ty Dillon running in the 6th spot. Busher, Finley, Infinger, and Ghost are your top 10. The championship is in the hands of Sheltra. Download the new free Speed app for your iPhone. Keep speed at your fingertips and fuel your passion for racing between events with Speed on your phone. Get the latest stats, results, videos, and news as soon as they become available. Download the app Tunes from iTunes now. Patrick Sheltra trying to put the 25 a lap down. It's Mikey Kyle in the 25, and Sheltra trying to get by him on the inside. Sheltra's got a 3.8 second lead now. When we went away, it was about 2.8 seconds. So he's been able to get through the traffic a little better than Frank Kimmel, as Kimmel runs 2nd. Swindell is 3rd, McCumbee 4th, and Arpin in the 5th spot.
You know, Steve Arpin's progress is pretty much stalled out here. We saw him chase down Chad McCumbee, and then he hasn't really been able to do anything with him. Patrick Sheltra continues to run some of the fastest laps of the race on about 20 laps older tires than Steve Arpin has. So right now, Patrick Sheltra is certainly in the driver's seat. There's a 3rd place car right there for a moment. Kevin Swindell doing a great job here, and his first ARCA Racing Series start of the year.
There's Kevin Swindell.
Just a few car lengths behind him. There's Brandon McReynolds. Remember, Brandon had a flat tire, had to make an unscheduled pit stop. He's running 2 laps down right there. Right behind Brandon, though, the one of Chad McCumbee. Chad has a great run going right now, running in the 4th spot.
McCumbie's last lap time just under 28 seconds, and that's what we're starting to see now, is about 28-second laps. And again, the pole was won under 25 seconds. So we have fallen off almost 3 seconds now a lap for these cars. And we see Steve Arpin again made his way back up into the top 5. Ty Dillon just behind him in the 6th spot.
Ty Dillon, our most recent winner. Last week at Kansas, did such a great job. Actually, his 2nd ARCA Racing Series start. First start was Iowa. He finished 2nd, then he bettered it one last week at Kansas with a big win.
Putting a lot of pressure on his older brother, who's had success in the Camping World Truck Series this year. Behind Dillon is the 17-year-old Chris Busher, and again, he turns 18 later this month, so he'll be able to run at virtually every racetrack we run on.
See the sponsor, David Reagan Ford, down in Georgia. David's dad Ken went down there to run that dealership for David. But Chris Busher, so impressive in this Rulo Brothers car. Really looking to turn 18 so we can run on something bigger than a mile.
Chad Finley, he's had a little bit of a difficult race now. He was supposed to start up front on the front row, the outside of row number 1. And because they were late to get into line for qualifying, their qualifying time stood as far as 2nd quick, but he had to start the race at the back of the field because of being late into that qualifying line.
There's Grant Enfinger, the 09 car, runs limited schedule here in the ARCA Racing Series, but always runs extremely well. Several top 5 finishes, a couple runner-up finishes for Grant Enfinger. Always good to see him in that 09 Ford.
And 2nd in the points coming into this race is the 81 of Craig Ghost, running in the 10th position. And Craig battled his way to within 5 points after his qualifying performance, but now is 55 points behind Patrick Sheltra. Again, Sheltra leading this race. Craig Ghost running in the 10th spot. And again, Patrick Sheltra gets 5 bonus points for leading a lap.
It's been about 75 laps since the majority of the field put tires on it. We know we talked about Steve Arpin getting them about 20 laps later. So right now these guys would dearly love to see an opportunity to put some tires on these cars, and I think we're in our window now with 72 laps to go. I think if the caution flag would come out now, I know all the guys that pitted back on lap 52 would put tires on, and it would just remain to be seen whether Steve Arpin's guys, Billy Venturini and them, would decide to, hey, maybe let's roll the dice. But the problem is, even though he had 20 laps fresher tires, he hasn't been able to move to within more than 7 seconds of our leader right now, Patrick Sheltra. I think he probably would need to get in the same sync, get on the same tires, or else he would have to really put a lot more laps on his tires and have 30 or 40 lap fresher tires to maybe make a difference.
A few times now we have said the Rock is a driver's racetrack, and this is the time right now when you can see that, because guys like Kevin Swindell and Chad McCumbee, those guys are sideways. I mean, they are working their way around this racetrack trying to hang on to the race car, just like the 77 of Tom Hessert is trying to hang on to a lead lap spot. But Patrick Sheltra puts him a lap down, and that's got to be very discouraging.
If you're off, that's how quickly it can go bad here. Incredible. 130 laps in. Tom Hessert, who was running up in the top 10, now has already gone a lap down now.
We have 16 now on the lead lap because Hessert has just gone a lap down. Ray.
Hey guys, just wanted to add to you about what the fuel window is. Talking to crew chiefs down here, most of them are saying they can go at least to 140, some all the way to 147. So we could see green flag stops coming up here at the Rock in just a little bit. And Phil, one point I wanted to make, many of these crew chiefs had to make a decision this weekend during testing of what rear end gear to run. And a lot of people going with a 433, many making a different choice. And that could slightly affect the fuel mileage and how far you could go.
Yeah, Ray, you're exactly right. The more gear you run, and some of these guys are running as much as a 444 gear, you turn more RPMs, you burn more fuel. So that's a good point. But we know right now that the 55 of Steve Arpin pitted 25 laps after the rest of the field did. So he has that much more fuel as well as fresher tires. So he will be able to go a lot farther than these guys. Again, about 25 laps. But does he want to do that and stay on those old tires when everyone else comes in and puts fresh tires on? He could put a lot of people a lap down if he did that, though.
He's sliding sideways just like some of the other competitors out here that have tires that are a little older than his. As we see Kevin Swindell still working on the inside of the racetrack, trying to stay in front of Steve Arpin.
That's a great battle for position, three-way battle for position right there. The 55 of Arpin right now is up into the 4th spot. Kevin Swindell back to 5th, and Ty Dillon right now in 6th.
There's Justin Marks in that 32. Remember, we talked about Justin Marks leading this race not that long ago, and now he is already a lap down in 19th position, and the rest of the field trying to get by him 3 wide as they come out of turn number 4, and that's a tight little battle they had, or 2. That's a tight battle. Oh, a little contact there between Ty Dillon and the 6 of Kevin Swindell.
It looked like Ty got in the back of Kevin Swindell. Remember, these guys raced together in the East Series. Ty's going to be able to make the pass on the bottom. Kevin's going to fight back on the outside with that momentum.
Ty Dillon hugging the bottom of the racetrack. Again, Ty Dillon in the 41, Kevin Swindell in the 6. Made a little contact as we see Chris Buescher in the 17 also coming into this battle.
It looks like the 6 of Kevin Swindell's car has fallen off a little bit. Remember, it's been over 80 laps since these guys have had tires put on these cars, with the exception of the 55 of Steve Arpin.
So a handful for almost every driver on the racetrack. Patrick Sheltra has a 4.8 second lead over Frank Kimmel. Sheltra's teams are looking to celebrate today.